Can you believe this day has come? A little less than a year ago, it was announced that Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera were collaborating on what would be both of their fourth novels. It was a love story set in New York between these two boys. They were both writing from one of their perspectives, going back and forth. We knew that Becky was known for having one sort of ending in her books. Adam was known for having another. What the hell were we going to make of this book? Queer stories are my favorite thing in the world. Becky and Adam are two of my absolute favorite authors right now. So I had high hopes for this book, and I was not let down for a second. Here we are, it's already October, and it's here. It's in our hands, in our bookstores. I was lucky enough to get my hands on an ARC. I read this entire book in 4 days. I'm not a fast reader. I don't do that. This book had me flipping pages like crazy. What If It's Us comes out today, October 9th. So please, if you have any doubts, go get yourself a copy. I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything in this video, but all the cuteness, everything, you just want to experience it. If you know anything about these two authors, you will not be disappointed. It is some of both of their best work. They really bring out so much in each other. I could feel them pushing each other in every chapter. It was so incredible. Previously, I've read all 3 of Adam Silvera's books, and I've read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda and Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. So the only one I'm missing is The Upside of Unrequited. Haven't gotten around to that one yet. What If It's Us follows Arthur and Ben. Arthur's chapters are narrated by Becky, and Ben narrated by Adam. Arthur is in New York City for the summer, interning at his mom's law firm. Ben lives in New York and is in summer school. So they meet cute at a post office one day, where Ben is dropping off a box of his ex-boyfriend's stuff, and Arthur is supposed to be running errands for work. Arthur follows Ben into the post office. They talk for a little bit, but then get distracted by a flash mob. They lose touch. They don't get any contact info, so the book kicks off with them trying to find each other. The most exciting, the cutest, most like edge of your seat point of reading this book was when they had not yet found each other. It was like it could happen at any moment. When is it going to happen? When will they finally meet? And it keeps not happening for a good minute. Fortunately, both of these writers built such a lovable and enticing world with both of the characters that I was perfectly comfortable just going back and forth with them, like obsessing over each other and their own lives and their own things going on. God, it was so much fun. I loved Namrata and Juliet. Ben has his straight best friend Dylan, who was just so much fun to have around. Just like the total bro friend who's always joking. Can't relate. Could relate to the idea of pretty much everything. Something that I really appreciated as I was reading this book is that even though the plot and the writing and the characters, all that had everything going for it, they were doing everything right, and in doing so, things were very imperfect for both of the characters. The situation is not ideal at most points, and that is what made the perfect moments so perfect. I mean, it's in the synopsis, what if they can't quite nail a first date even after 3 do-overs? Reading about the terrible, awkward dates after having this epic find each other story. If you're starting to feel spoiled, please go away and read the book, like I said, but also there's so much more, so you're fine. I was like, yes, thank you. That is real. That date should suck. Arthur's inexperience needs to be talked about. All the fails, all the weird moments, all the like, you don't even like me. Amazing. Some people don't like romance books because it makes them feel bad about their own romantic life. This is like not one of those. This romance sucks a lot of the time. And that is what makes this book so good. The way these characters learn to go on that journey together. That is what it's really all about. So much diversity was present in this book. A lot of it was very casual, and I appreciated it, and you know, I'm glad for it. It was needed. In a story about 2 gay boys, I'm very glad that there were other characters who were, you know, bi-romantic, ace, people of color. It was very nice. It made the story feel more real, and I just appreciated seeing it all over the place along the way. So after I read this, I went to mark it on Goodreads. I try not to read reviews before I talk about books, but I just wanted to see, of the people who have already read it, what they were saying, if they were as like, oh my god, as me. Because when I finished this, I was like, I love this book. I was talking to my parents about it. I was so obsessed, I was laughing out loud. There were tears on my face. Me, crying, reading this book. So I read a little bit of one of the reviews, and she had started by saying, this is such a Gen Z book. So many references to like current singers and Hamilton and Ben Platt, and Instagram is all over this book, which I loved because that is very much the lives of teenagers right now. I just got done being a teenager just this summer. But I really do feel like the average YA reader, whether you're a decade older than me or my age or younger than me especially, like however old you are, if you read YA, I think you will find this book refreshing and really good. I think you will enjoy reading it. So yeah, there were some events in this book that were like, oh, like I didn't realize that was something that was going to be addressed. Like this is a long book, it's over 400 pages. So throughout their short summer romance, there's a lot that goes on. So there were a lot of things where I really appreciated the writing and the choices they made. For some reason, I was very aware of the plot. It felt very purposeful. I was like, okay, midpoint. It happened in very clear sections, which I enjoyed. It felt constantly pushing forward. God knows we did not stay in one place for very long. There are times when they struggle to understand each other. Ben comes from a Puerto Rican background. Arthur comes from a Jewish background. They really have to make an effort with each other. And they do, but they also screw up sometimes, both with understanding each other and just their personalities coming into their relationship. Lots of discussion in this book about the universe. Is it bringing them together or pulling them apart? And I really questioned that a lot throughout. I was like, they're still going. Wow. It was just funny to me reading it as someone who was in New York doing an internship, that whole thing last summer, and thinking about like things that were similar about my time and things that were like, very much not. Can't relate. So yeah, I needed this book in my life. I absolutely flew through it. I loved every second of it. I really just had the best time reading it. If you've not read this book, I do want to talk about the ending. So please go away. Please go. It was great to talk to you. I hope you decide to read this book. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. I was so happy with how the ending went. Gosh, I was like, I'm a little cynical when it comes to relationships. I like did not think they should have stayed together. I was afraid that Arthur was gonna like find a way to stay in New York, and I was like, no, like go back to your friends. You just repaired your friendship with these people. You've had all these problems. Like, it needs to stay in the past and it needs to stay perfect, and you guys need to stay friends. And they did. When Arthur talked about all those people he was kissing, I was like, yes, get it? Arthur. I was so happy. And then when Ben was like, single as fuck, makes a lot of sense. I loved the ending almost as much as I loved the beginning. Really had me crying. I want to also talk about the incident with the stranger on the subway when they're together and he says no one wants to see that. You know, they almost get into a fight, but Arthur stops it. It was really upsetting to read, and I was surprised that it was in this book, quite frankly. And I wish it didn't have to be, but I am glad that it was. I've been on that New York subway wrapped up in with another boy, and it makes me very uncomfortable, because what if? We know that that happens. We've seen it happen. So yes, this book is very of its time, and that is something that belonged in there, I thought. And I think people will have mixed feelings about it, and I spent a lot of time thinking about that, but yeah, that's what I thought about that. I just can't believe this book exists. I love Becky and Adam so much together. Their voices were amazing, so distinct, so very much like we needed this book in queer YA right now. I'm so happy that it's here. I'm so happy that it's these two authors, and I'm so happy for the success that is about to become of this book. Those are all my thoughts on What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I want to discuss in the comments, so leave me a comment and we'll talk. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Tiernan. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, and